You on Oneness Talk Radio. It's so wonderful to tune in with you wherever you are in the world, and always just to see who's watching and who listens to the recording. It's just super, super fun. So this morning, I have an announcement to make and something really, really special to offer you. So a couple of months ago, the founder of Live Your Best Life, Michelle Jones, actually reached out to me and asked if I could coach her in the Intuitive Success Club. And of course, I said yes. And as she took the program, she actually decided that she wanted to bring it to her company, Live Your Best Life in Australia. And this woman is so incredible to, first of all, be asked to be her coach is incredible because she is not other than just created this company of Live Your Best Life. She coaches clients, multi-million dollar companies that are just growing and using principles to truly follow their intuition and live their best life. And she actually offered to bring that to us. So we actually have the ability to start working with her and gain access to live your best life. So this morning, I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit of that, the 10 main principles that she teaches. And I wish she could be here live with us, but she's just so busy she couldn't get it in her calendar. But I wanted you all to just start to get a taste of her. And, I just want to take a moment to pause and really feel the power of love. So as we all soften our hearts and move into this frequency of the universal language of love, this connection that we can all feel even beyond words, it actually brings me into really the vibration of how we connected. And it was a couple years ago, one of my best friends, Williamson, actually reached out to Michelle Jones through the Universal Language of Love show. And we made the connection then. And I was looking at actually a box that I still have that she sent me of a gift where she had actually sent the book, Live Your Best Life, and the workbook. And so it was almost like a seed was planted then, right? So when we start following our intuitions and having this just hunch, this nudge that, oh yeah, I need to do this or I need to do that, we open our hearts to then receive our intuitive guidance, to follow those gut knowings. So it's in some ways surprising, but not surprising to see this manifest of us partnering and merging companies and really just growing intuition and live your best life together. So, one of the questions that Michelle often asks is, what is your best life? What is living your best life look like? So I recommend just taking a moment to answer that question for yourself. What does living your best life look like? And Michelle and I have one of the same theories that, we believe we're completely whole. Everybody's whole as they are. So we're living our best life now. And what's even a greater expansion of that best life? So start to think about what that is for you, if you want. So as you're just noticing what the images are and the thoughts and the feelings and just all the energy of living your best life, allow yourself to start to receive it. Really open up to it, knowing that it's already there. And I love a really beautiful quote. I believe it's by Rumi, and this is something that Michelle has in her curriculum. The only tool you need is already within you. Every leader in business knows this, that the true pathway to success starts with themselves. And that is actually her quote. That is not Ruby. That totally is Michelle's voice. So that's really where we're starting, is really accessing that deeper knowing, that intuitive wisdom, the inner resources, and getting some of the structure and asking the basic questions of what really allows us to succeed more in life, right? And trust ourselves. So her first principle is understanding your why. So once you have what I'll just call your best life statement, what it is that you're creating and moving towards, ask yourself, why? Why do you even want that? What's important about that? So I'll give you a few minutes to answer that. And I can just give an example. I know for Michelle, her why is just to help people live their best life because she gets so much fulfillment from it. And, she has overcome so many amazing things. I mean, health challenges beyond, and just risen to this just even pure, more luminescent beings. So I feel like when we really get in touch with our why and it serves something beyond us, we start opening our hearts more and the universe can really unify with us even more. So I invite you to just feel your why and then expand it. How can it reach even more people? And then really getting clear on your intention as you soften your heart. I think sometimes we can jump to conclusions saying this or that, but when you really listen to the still small voice of your heart and you come from that pure intention of love, the universe can give that back to you. And just things become easier. There's a sense of grace that can flow in your life. So, again, you can always come back and write a little bit more in your journal, wherever you're writing. So, the second principle is to acknowledge your current beliefs and reprogram your thinking. So, what she means by reprogram your thinking is think different, right? Because, I teach NLP. It's part of the Intuitive Success Club now. And the way that the brain works is our neurology, each time you have a thought, it fires into your nervous system of how to feel and how to act, right? So when you quote unquote reprogram that to have positive thoughts and emotions, then those behaviors then become positive, and then that leads to the action that you want. So as you start to notice, what do I believe that maybe isn't true and isn't serving me? You can then reprogram your thinking to what does, right? So again, I'm giving you the outline, right? These are the basic concepts, and the whole key is to apply them. So, we're going to talk at the end about how you can join her 10-week course. But basically, when we start setting this framework, it's almost like building the foundation of a house, right? So we're getting towards the goal. So the third principle is to develop a healthy perspective, right? So my mom always says, like, there's 360 ways to look at things, right? And she's right. It's all perspective. Another neurolinguistic programming concept is everybody has their own model of the world. For instance, if I hold this glass of water, just notice what you notice, and I'll notice what I notice. Now, most likely, we're going to notice different things, right? We might notice the color of the water, the shape of the glass, whatever it is. The point being, we're going to see something based on our perception. We're going to focus in, right, on however we see things. So when you develop a healthy perspective, you can see things with love. You can see things from that healthy place, right? So that's the third principle. So maybe start to think about how can you see things in your life right now from a healthy perspective. Start to sharpen that lens towards that healthy perspective and notice what you see. Nice. So the fourth principle is to listen to your feelings and allow them to guide you. So I completely agree with Michelle on this, because as you start listening to your feelings, it actually opens you up to your intuitive knowing. So it's the same way that I teach. You guys have probably heard me say before, you bring your awareness from your head to your heart, which is connecting you to your feelings to love, and then into your gut knowing, right? So what she's saying is you listen to your feelings, you're then guided, right? And you can notice if something's out of alignment because it doesn't feel good, right? So then all you need to do is say, oh, okay, that's a messenger. That's not in alignment. What can I do to move into alignment? What can I do to feel good, right? And so you're going to move into that energy. So, really simple, right? Watch what happens when you start listening to your feelings and let them guide you. So, the fifth principle is create your own personal manifesto, right? So, this is really deciding what it is that you want, right? Really getting super clear on what that means for you, right? And knowing that you can create a life that you want. So, think about what that looks like for you, your own personal manifesto. I'll give you a little bit more about it because I like her description of it. So imagine how empowering it feels as you begin to language and understand what you need to do to have every part of your life working in alignment. This strategy will allow you to let go of the treadmill you found yourself on and free you from trading your own time to your own present circumstances. Learn to to state the things how you would like them and allow them to flow to you. So I think that's one of the most powerful things is sometimes it can be easy to be like, oh, I really don't like this, right? Well, what do you want, right? That's another NLP thing. It's like focus on the outcome that you do want because your brain is just seeing those pictures, right? So the moment you're like, I don't want that, maybe snap your fingers and move into alignment with your own personal manifesto of what you do want. And again, like I said, these are all about practicing, right? So I'm just giving you just a little scratching the surface of them. The sixth principle is discover and reveal your own self-worth. So I'm actually going to read to you what she says about this too. And if you think about it, your self-worth is its vehicle, the energy, the love, which actually can bring things to you. Because when you recognize that God force, that light, that universe in you, you can then be open to receive what it is that you want, right? And then you also have the energy to give what it is that you want. So as you understand and begin to be open to receiving all the hidden messages in your dreams and aspirations, you will soon also discover your own self-worth, which will lead you to exposing your lucrative purpose that's currently woven within them. The strategy will hold the clues that enable you to tap into this both financially and in terms of your greater richness of all that you have to offer this world. So I think that's so beautiful. And, one of the things that I say in the Intuitive Success Club is our worth is infinite, right? It's truly infinite. And when you start to tap into that and then be able to monetize that and see how you're serving people, it really is magical, right? So take a moment to maybe just open up to the possibility of your infinite self-worth and what it feels like to fully embody that. All right. So the next principle is, she calls it week number 7, because like I said, it's a 10-week course, but I'm actually just giving you these little principles. So this one is unleash your magnetic superpowers. So this is like, it could be your intuition or anything you're like super, super good at that just becomes easy for you. And so I'll tell you what she says about that. Welcome to your magnetic superpowers. This is where you start to accept that you knew you were always a superhero, that you simply need to step into being your own superhero and commit and wield to your own superpowers. As within all magnets, there will be conditions that repel or attract more resourceful things to you. So in this strategy, we explore how to unleash your magnetic powers in a way that truly benefits you. So this really obviously is exactly what she says, right? When you actually realize that superpower, that energy of being a hero is inside of you, it becomes easier to unleash it, right? And I remember when I was a kid, that song by Mariah Carey that's called Hero. And it's like you can feel that life force and that energy within you that actually really already knows how to do your life. So when you just open up to listening to it, you're able to share it, right? All right. The eighth principle is become a master and focus of being. Okay. So, as you start to focus your energy on what you want and you become it, meaning you're embodying the energy, you start to attract it in your life, right? And, a really good example of that is if somebody walks into a room and you feel magnetically drawn to them, that's because they're holding a vibration they've embodied of something that feels attractive. So start to think about the vibration energies of what you want to embody, right? And ultimately, you're embodying your best life. And as you do, you become it, right? And magic, but really you're just opening up again to what's already there. So the ninth principle is ask for directions before you go to set out and to do it. So I want to read what she says about this because I'm always somebody that just like goes for it intuitively. So here's what she says. In this strategy, you'll do with simple solutions that allow you to easily tap into and listen to your intuition. As you do this, you will notice how smart it really is and notice how it has your best interest at heart. As you allow it to direct you moving forward, you will learn to depend on it for guidance. And as a result, you will find fulfilling solutions to your life queries waiting there to direct you forward. So I really think this is where, Michelle and I were able to merge our companies and our souls as the intuitive, right? The intuitive way is it's asking for directions, right? So it's getting the structure, but it's actually realizing that your intuition is guiding you like an inner compass all the way, all the time. So simply listening to that is going to point you in the right direction. And taking action is where you're going to manifest the results, right? That's really the key. So I know for me, that's what I did, right? And for anybody, and whether I'm working with a CEO or an entrepreneur, whatever it is, when you take that action, you make that change, you get the result. Okay. All right, the 10th principle is embrace your uncertainty. Now, here's what's funny. When she said this, I'm like, what? I don't really like uncertainty. But actually, what she says about it brings you deeper into your intuition, even still, because she basically says in this principle as well to tap into your intuition. So here's what she says about this. In this final strategy, you will be giving up your need to be certain of an outcome before you take any action. So, my mom would call that faith, right? Your intuition says to do something. You don't know exactly what the outcome is going to be, but you're trusting your feelings. It feels right. It's in alignment with your personal manifesto, what you want. So, you're moving towards it. So, now that you've tapped into your intuition, the intuitive guidance, you'll be able to trust what it's telling you. And you'll now find ways to take that action, follow through, and achieve outcomes purely based on your desires and what you're feeling, not what you think you should be doing. So, also, the energy tells the truth, right? So, you can feel in the moment beyond even words what the energy is, right? And that's intuitive wisdom. So, Michelle is actually, we're all launching this course. So, the whole team, like I said, we've partnered up. So, we have another meeting tonight, but I wanted to introduce this and invite everybody to email us at success@lifeforceconnection.com. Again, that's success@lifeforceconnection.com. And you can get more information about how to join this 10-week course. She has a beautiful PDF where she goes in detail. And like I said, it's really in the practical application of it, So, we're coming up on the new year. So if you're ready to just take your life to that next level, it's a great opening, right? It's like opening a door to that whole new level. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open the chat. If anybody wants to ask anything, feel free. It's still saying it's a private chat. Very cool. I love that. Yes, create, expand, love. When you're vibing that level, you can manifest the most loving experiences. Absolutely. So, when you are vibrating something like she says, you're going to attract it in, right? So the key is to really master your energy, on what you want to create and consciously decide. And for those of you that just popped on, it's like, even snapping your fingers. Oh, I don't want that. I'm going to snap my fingers and move towards what I do want, right? And then your subconscious mind can get on board with your intuition. So, yeah, just a couple more things just to share with you because it's fun. We have our One Heart Global nonprofit, right, where we work with the families in Ecuador. And it was so beautiful because we had actually sent a email on our board to over there and basically just kind of letting them know what we needed from them to continue moving forward. And I didn't hear back from them, and I was like, intuitively I can feel something's going on. And I just was like, if I soften and really feel her heart, I feel like there's might be something going on with her daughter, the person who actually manages the entire orphanage, and her name's Daisy. And of course, she's become like family. So I could kind of feel into that. And I had remembered Krishna saying, Abby, just be patient, because as we're working with these different countries, there's different cultures, right? And so even though we're connected to the universal language of love, there's different ways of being. For instance, it's perfectly appropriate to be super, super late in Ecuador. I know in America, it's kind of like be on time or else, So just to kind of soften into that. So as I did, and I just moved into that heart frequency of love, I followed my intuition and privately messenger. And she said, actually, we're just about ready to be transferred to the hospital. My daughter has cancer. And so I think sometimes it almost makes me cry. We don't even know what's going on. And so if we can just soften to have that understanding and that universal language of love, not only can we open our own hearts, we can also serve each other. And I started to mention that earlier because I feel like there's a softening that's an awakening, that it's an opening. And the deeper you go into that love, the higher you go. And in this moment, I really invite you to soften your heart around your own personal beliefs that you might be holding. Like Michelle's second principle is about, noticing what are your current beliefs. And as you start softening into them, maybe notice if you're holding them tightly. I know one of my teachers, Michael Bennett, he was my NLP teacher and just a dear friend of mine. And he used to say, and he's since passed, I still feel connected to his spirit. But he'd be like, people hold on to their beliefs like this. You just hold super, super tight. And as you do, there's like nothing that can get in. But if you can just be willing to open the grip just a little bit and release those beliefs just a little bit, you actually open up. And as you start to open up your heart and soften, you can flow your energy down into your belly and move into that center point where you can feel that inner compass we were talking about, right? And that compass, it is like a magnetic pole. It starts to guide you. And it's funny, I don't always know who's watching, but just to share a little bit of my story, when I was 19, actually 18, I had a scholarship to go to college in LA. And I felt like it was a round peg in a square hole. So I started opening just like I'm telling you to do. And I literally felt a magnetic pull towards La Jolla, California. So not LA, but I felt my whole body like a magnet drawing me there, right? And I decided to follow it. At the same time, I also decided to open a theory that we had the answers within us. And that magnetic pull and that theory, I believed in it so much and I trusted my intuition so much that I left that scholarship and I started my private practice professionally 6 months later and moved to La Jolla, California. So it's a soul thing, right? And when we listen to the vibration, our body is like the vessel, it's like the instrument being guided. And we don't always know why, but I can tell you the level of fulfillment I've had in my life is like through the roofs because I've been so in alignment with the soul. And so that's why I teach that. So for those of you that want to learn more about that, you can go to www.theintuitivesuccessclub.com and learn more about that. And like I said, that's actually part of Live Your Best Life now too. So you join me or Michelle, you join us. We're all one team here. And then we also have the Intuitive Child that Krishna and I are developing. So you can go to the intuitivechild.co. And that's just a powerful course for your children or the children you know. And that's what we're working to completely be able to gift the kids at the orphanage over there. So super exciting. And, really today, notice where that magnetic pull, I invite you to, if your intuition is guiding you, it could be as simple as like walking down the street. Like I know I used to do that and sometimes I still do. It's like you're in the car even and you're like, wow, why do I feel pulled here? I think I'm just going to go down this street, right? And then you like run into a friend. And so it's just so much fun. And then one of the things you can do, I also studied with Sonia Choquette, and she talked about keeping a psychic, I like to say intuitive journal because I'm not too big on the word psychic, but you write down what your findings were. So you're like, oh, my intuition said to go left. And I ran into my friend, and you write it down, right? And so as you start writing down all these positive experiences of following your intuition, you start to build trust, right? And then you can make those bigger decisions, right? So I ended up from the private practice opening a wellness center, right? And then I was like, oh, what else I can do? Oh, okay, I'll become an author. And then you start putting the intention out of what you want. It's like intention marries intuition. You're like, oh, I want to do this. How can my intuition come on board, right? And so then you get invited to things, right? And it's pretty phenomenal, right? And then the school was born, right? I teach at colleges, and then they were like, hey, can you join? Can you teach your course here? So just notice what starts to open when you follow your intuition, and you're going to be continuing to follow those good feelings and have those most loving experiences. And, I think one of the other things that is important to notice, and I talk about this a little bit in the club, is, we can have boundaries and say no. So if something doesn't feel good, we can say, no, actually, I'm going to turn away from that and move in a different direction. It's not really, there's no need to fight. You just kind of pivot. And the metaphor I get is like, a river, right? Like sometimes it can be like this. And it's like, which way are you going to go down? You definitely want to flow with it. But like, if that way looks like a lot of rapids, it's not very much fun. Like, go in the other direction, right? And let that grace, let that energy, let that life force carry you. So, all right. Again, I'm just going to invite anybody to type in the chat if you have any questions or anything that's going on in your life that you would like me just to tune into. I'm happy to, and really just to keep inspiring you to trust your intuition. And there's this quote that you might have heard, and it's just, be still and know that I am God, right? Moving into that powerful presence of being creates a certainty and an alignment that you can be guided wherever you need to be in every moment, right? And that your presence of love is more than enough. And the inner resources that you have of your powerful mind and your emotions, when you combine them in a positive way and you say no to what you don't want, you can move in alignment with your soul. You can move in alignment with your intuition. And one of the questions that I often ask myself that brings me a lot of joy is, how can I serve? And you'll notice when you open up to that, you're able to serve, but you also get back so much, because in essence, we're all one. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. For the Oneness, you can actually go to www.oneheartglobal.co to learn more about our nonprofit. And again, the intuitivesuccessclub.com. And please send me an email at success@lifeforceconnection.com to learn more about this 10-week course. We're just so excited. And it's just so much fun to be partnering with somebody in Australia. And now we're working with Mexico. And it's just really incredible to really let everybody's light shine bright and see the best in everyone. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.